Now, the rest of the story.
Alright everybody, welcome back. Hope you guys can hear me over the sound of, well, Calvin snoring in the background and the rain hitting the window. And, well, it is actually thundering right now. But I figured I'd do exactly what the title says. It's a long ride home, or the long road home. This is a video from coming home from our farthest away farm. I started recording when I left the field road, and then I shut it off when I parked the tractor in the machine shed. And overall, this was a 47-minute, 23-second long video. So it's a long enough of a drive. The 4020 is one of our, not the slowest machine. I think the lawnmower gets that, or maybe one of the skid steers, but it is one of the slower machines that we have. And the 7600 can do this trip, 82 can do this in 35 minutes. So it's a little slower. And I am trying to watch what I'm doing because I'm currently towing along the cultivator. As far as cultivating goes, I imagine some people are wondering, are we done cultivating? The answer to that is not quite. I have about 60 acres of corn to do yet, and with this rain that we're currently getting, that we got yesterday, they weren't calling for rain for a week. So all this moisture we're getting right now is pretty much coming out of nowhere. And as far as trying to get the last of the corn cultivated, it's not the end of the world if I don't. I have all of my side dressing acres done, all the corn that I was going to work in the fertilizer as I was going across the field. The stuff that I have left is the stuff that I'm going to Y drop, and that probably isn't going to be for a little while yet. I'd say maybe another 2 weeks. I'm guesstimating here because the corn is growing at varying rates. It was going so slow there for the longest time, and then the last 3 days, maybe 4 days, the stuff has went from knee high, maybe about my hip level, my waist, and some of it is already chest high, probably right about level with my chin. So it all depends on where it was at. There really isn't a whole lot of planting difference in our corn, largely just because the early stuff was planted 5 days before the later planted stuff, and the last 60 acres or so that I have left to do. I mean, I did get some of the field done. You'll see that in tomorrow night's video. But even the last field of corn that we planted was only planted 6 to 7 days after the rest of our crops. So we started on a Monday. We planted until Friday. We started Monday night. We planted straight through until Friday night, and then got rained out Friday night, so the following Thursday is when we actually finished up corn. So all of our corn was actually put in a pretty tight window. It's just that, along with everybody else, just getting it growing. And I'm starting to feel a little bit better now than what I was a week ago even. We have been getting a couple compliments on our corn. Not patting myself or ourselves on the back in any way, shape, or form. It's just people have been saying that our corn does look nice. That's kind of reassuring. The stuff that is right at the home farm is actually our high maintenance stuff. We are trying to push yield on that. We are Andrew just went through and hit it with the second pass spray. All the corn anyway, hit it with the second pass, and he put in a bunch of couple extra products to encourage the plant growth and keep the nutrients up. So it's really going to be a wait and see kind of thing. And I guess I'm really not talking about the ride home. I guess I've done this so many times over the years that this is just like another old day on the farm. But if you guys have really noticed, and the real reason why I really wanted to show you this video from where I was, and I'm trying to cut through. I didn't speed this up very much. I only sped the video up by 1.5%. So we're just slightly faster than what it actually is. But I wanted to at least try to go through and cut out some of the more interesting parts of the trip, I guess is what I want to say, or just trying to give you guys a good idea about the terrain that we we drive through on a daily, weekly basis. So we went from down in a valley with hills on each side of us to back up, and on that one piece was actually, according to Grandpa, was like the highest point in Grant County. I have never actually looked in to confirm that, but there is a survey marker in the yard up there, and Grandpa always told us that survey marker was used to sight across into Iowa. So it's worth as good as the words I just said, I guess. I haven't looked into it, but so we went from up on that piece up on a relatively high point in the county where you can see a pretty good ways. I mean, you can see clear over past Platteville. You can see out towards Iowa. I mean, it's really scenic. And if I had to choose, I would much rather either live or work in the farm or have my house located in a place where I actually have a view. I couldn't. I know there's people that live in apartment buildings and all that stuff and live down in these hills. I mean, we've passed a couple houses that are, your view is a hillside. I couldn't do that. Like my place, at least I have a little bit of a view. At least you got a little bit more view of the sky and everything. But just to have hills on each side, I've had some farm ground that was just like that. And to be honest with you, maybe it was a little extreme, but that field, if you went and worked in it throughout the day, it's just one of those places, and I know it's hard to explain, but it's just one of those fields that it just mentally drained you. By the end of the day, you were just glad to get out of there. And I've talked to a couple other people that have been in the similar location or so, and they've said the exact same thing. But I don't know. I like wide open and blue sky. That's pretty much ideal conditions for me for even field work, whatever else. We're coming up on Brulard Hill here, which is probably the most dangerous part of the trip, I would say. Just from the fact that this hill is actually a lot steeper. I don't think the camera is really justifying how steep this hill is. Coming down it with combine, going up and down it with any machinery for that matter is really kind of scary. You don't get very far off the side of the road there on the right, and it's pretty much straight down. The trees, you're looking at the tops of trees that are probably 40, 50, 60 plus feet tall. You run off that, you're going to have a little bit of time to think about what you just did. I have heard growing up that there was a guy he had an older combine. I guess he was shifting it or something while he was halfway down that hill, and he missed his gear. So in the end, I think he actually ran it into the hillside or he dove off. It was one of the two. It was either he ran it into the hillside and he jumped off, or he jumped off and the combine kind of veered into the hillside, so it didn't run off that edge there. In my lifetime, there are some stories, not necessarily with Brulard there, but there are some stories about guys driving off into a quarry and killed himself, not on purpose. I mean, he may have been a little intoxicated there, but it is kind of, well, everywhere in the world, I imagine, has their own stories of this could happen if you're not careful or watching what you're doing. Point in case, for all these hills that you're coming to the top of a hill and you're going right back down, kind of like a dragon's tail or a roller coaster. We actually have a road or two that are referred to as roller coaster road, but you're always making sure you're off all the way to the right and maybe then some, especially if you're a little bit wider, because cars do tend to top those hills going, well, fast enough, shall we say. And yet again, not to refer another story or a tragic accident, but there are a few stories of people colliding with each other, popping the top of those hills in the middle of the road and being ejected through their front windshields. And I do know there was an older one that I believe the drivers ended up in each other's passenger seats when they hit each other, because I believe they were going well above the speed limit. But I don't know. It is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the ride home, or the long ride home. But I'll try to do some more random videos like this. I mean, things are starting to perk up around here a little bit. But with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Take it easy. Keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.